Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third video. So we're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days. For today's video, day 10 is going to take us to around the 8th of July. We'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. Maybe run around a couple of weeks. And I'll look at CFS V2 at the end of the video next 4 weeks. And of course, that's going to take us well on into the second half of July. So I'll get on with that for you in a moment. Just say about the first video released today was our 7 AM forecast, and we also released this month's ENSO update as well. So check out those two if you'd like to do that. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much to everybody for doing that. I hope you're having a lovely Monday. Right, let's turn the webcam then. I'm going to start off by having a look at what's going on in the tropical Atlantic. Got 2 disturbance areas. One just there and a red X just there. More about that in a moment. Let's deal with the yellow X first of all. This one here, that's disturbance 2 with a 20% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days, but a 40% chance in the next 5 days. They're saying a broad area of low pressure associated with a tropical wave is producing a small cluster of showers and thunderstorms over the central tropical Atlantic Ocean. Some slow development is possible through the end of the week while the system moves quickly westward to northwestward at 20 miles per hour, likely reaching the Lesser Antilles by Wednesday night. So that might develop into a tropical system, actually, as it moves in that direction over the next day or so. And then, of course, we've got this red X just here, much higher chance of this one developing into something. There's a lot to read about this, so let's see what they're saying. It's disturbance 1 with a 70% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days. They're saying a well-defined low-pressure system located around 190 miles east-southeast of Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, is producing a large area of showers and thunderstorms, mainly west of the center. However, any additional increase in organization of thunderstorm activity would result in the issuance of advisories for a tropical depression or tropical storm later this morning or this afternoon. The low is forecast to move west-northwestwards at 15-20 miles per hour, and the system could reach the coast of southern South Carolina or Georgia by this evening. If advisories are initiated, then tropical storm warnings could be required for a portion of Georgia and South Carolina coast with short notice. Regardless of development, a few inches of rain are possible along the immediate coast of Georgia and southern South Carolina through Tuesday. An Air Force Reserve Unit reconnaissance aircraft is scheduled to investigate the system. Is starting. They can have a look at it later. So this might just suddenly blow up into a tropical storm and go in that direction over the next few hours. So at the moment, it's a 70% chance that they are sort of hedging their bets, aren't they? But at any point today, that might get named as a tropical storm as it hits the coast of Georgia and South Carolina. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. So it's all going on. It's still very early days of this. It's not even in July yet, and lots going on. Lots to keep an eye on in the tropical Atlantic. So there we go. We'll keep a close eye on that. Right, CT, come back to home. CT is looking like this, standing at 15.7, an anomaly of 1.5 degrees above average, provisional to the 27th, provisional to yesterday. Obviously, going to come in the 15s now, I think. It's just where in the 15s it will be. And we'll know on Thursday exactly where that CT is coming. So it's significantly warmer than average June, definitely. But, you know, not like the hottest June ever, which is, as I explained, 1846, I think, and then more recently 1970. So we're going to be well under that. But still, like, a very significantly warmer than average month, following on, of course, from the cold April and May that we have. Very strange year this year so far. Right, these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. The next couple of weeks, we'll look at Birkenhead today. The red line is 30-year upper air temperature average for Birkenhead, and we're starting off a little bit above average at the moment. Actually, we're going to stay average to a little bit above average with the upper air temperatures over the next few days, and even like into the second week 2, which takes us towards the middle of July, just generally average to slightly above average. So a rather warm period coming up, but nothing particularly exciting, nothing you would say there that's really hot. But just generally average, just slightly warmer than average. Precipitation-wise for Northern England, it's going to be quite a bit of dry weather around over the next few days. More rain, though, in the south. And then as we move right through the first week of July into the second week of July, it looks like it's getting more generally unsettled then for northern and northwestern parts of the country. So rather average to slightly warmer than average temperatures and becoming more unsettled. Looks like it's the broad theme from the GFS ensembles. Temperature anomalies from the 28th of June to the 6th of July going to be warmer than average, so a milder than average or warmer than average week coming up, especially so for more northern areas. And precipitation anomaly from the 28th of June to 6th of July are going to be drier than average through many central, northern and western parts of the country, but still a bit wetter than average down in the south. Latest wind flow map from earthnullschool.net shows that we're bringing in more of a northeasterly wind today, so particularly for more southern areas actually. That does make it feel a little bit cooler in the south, and with quite a lot of cloud and showery bursts. It does feel quite cool in the south. Further north, with light winds and plenty of sunshine, it feels warmer in the north, definitely. Right, so let's go through the charts then. We'll put webcam back on for this bit, shall we? There we go, we're back. Right then, so this is how the UK Met looks at the weather outlook. For Thursday, high pressure is dominating across the north. There is a trough of low pressure down to the south, though. Into Friday, again, a lot of high pressure domination going on there. Through the weekend, low pressure begins to edge in from off the Atlantic, or at least tries to do so. It's having a bit of a job, but eventually by 168 hours, which gets us to this time next week, Monday the 5th of July, by then it looks like the low pressure is breaking through. Now, we have got a bit of a southwesterly wind coming in with this low, so it's not going to be cold. It could actually be quite warm, but probably turning increasingly unsettled, increasingly showery over weekend into the early part of next week with the UK Met. Right, this is how the GFS midnight run was looking. So again, on Thursday, lots of high pressure sitting to our north. That carries on as well through the end of the week and into weekend. Later in weekend, low pressure is trying to break through from off the Atlantic. It's struggling a little bit, and down in the south, actually, we just keep this ridge of high pressure building through. So quite a bit of dry and warm weather, actually, with the GFS midnight run for southern areas, a little bit more unsettled up in the north. And then the GFS up to day 10 really starts to strengthen this ridge, so it could start to become quite hot, actually, as it gets to day 10 with GFS midnight run. That gets to the 8th of July. Pulling up the winds from France, from the south, so looks pretty warm that. Low pressure's out to our west, though, suggesting there might be a little bit of volatility. There's the upper air temperatures for day 10. They do look very warm, possibly quite hot down in the south. And then this low pressure sort of comes meandering in, not much conviction, but comes meandering in into the second week of July, bringing showery conditions. And then we move up towards the end of a GFS run, and we have high pressure strengthening again to the south. So a lot of dry and warm weather on the GFS midnight operational run, it has to be said. Right, let's go back with 6Z. Here we go. We're going to zoom through. There we go. Right, GFS 6Z for Thursday is looking like that. Again, quite a bit of dry weather in the north. There's a trough sitting to our east that could bring some showers through the middle part of the week into the east. End of the week, there's going to be a lot of dry weather. Again, heights are rising to our east and northeast. Winds are coming up from the south. Should be plenty of dry and quite warm weather then. Over the weekend, low pressure tries to get in above the Atlantic, but again, the GFS 6Z keeps this ridge going. So lots of dry and potentially very warm weather over weekend. Into next week, that ridge continues. This is Tuesday, 6th of July, week tomorrow. Again, big ridge from the Azores up to Scandinavia, suggesting that it could be quite hot and dry through the early part of next week. And then up to day 10, the idea is with the GFS 6Z again to keep lots of anticyclonic influences going, looking mainly dry and pretty warm. In more extended range, it does try and go a little bit more showery there in the north around the night, but doesn't really come to much. Heights again rise through the second week of July. So the GFS is really going to town with high pressure and loads of dry and warm weather today until the very end of the GFS 6Z, which then starts to turn more unsettled and has more of a thundering look about it. But of course, that's 2 weeks away. Loads of dry and very warm weather, maybe at times hot weather with the GFS, Midnight and 6Z. Now have a look at the GEM. This is how the GEM looks for Thursday. Again, we start off, you know, very similar to the GFS, with lots of high pressure sitting to our north, mainly dry and quite warm. It's over the weekend, though, but we see big changes. Low pressure much stronger coming in from off the Atlantic. And by the early part of next week, actually the GEM looks properly unsettled there, with low pressure right over top of the coast, bringing showers along with spells of rain. I suppose it could be technically, you know, quite warm with that area of low pressure, but if it's pouring with rain, then it's going to be pretty unsettled. Up to 192 hours, 6th of July, it just looks, you know, very unsettled. Low pressure is in control of the weather. Another secondary low comes in on Wednesday, the 7th of July, looking very, very unsettled next week with the GEM. Showers along with spells of rain, and, you know, temperatures are going to be suppressed because of that unsettled weather as well. Very different to the GFS. Then we've got the ECM looking like this. So again, we start on Thursday with lots of high pressure in the north, mainly dry and fine conditions. That carries on into the early part of the weekend. But then later in the weekend and through to next week, we find pressure is weakening. That's not going as unsettled as the GEM is, but definitely turning more showery at the very least, and cooler as well. And we keep that going up to day 10. In fact, by day 10, we look generally quite cool and unsettled with the ECM, with low pressure in the North Sea, winds in from the northwest, so pretty cool as well, with showers or longer spells of rain. So it continues, this goes on. You know, we talked about it through all of last week. What's going to happen into July? Will we set up a hot spell? Or will we turn unsettled and cooler? You know, and it's still going on. The difference between the model output is still going on for this first week of July. And bear in mind, we're starting like the first day of July on Thursday. So something's got to give here. Sooner or later, these models are going to have to come into line, and we'll see what happens. But at the moment, the GFS, you know, really wants to keep warm or get warm, dry weather going through the first week, 10 days of July. It actually looks quite hot at times, whereas the GEM and the ECM, particularly the GEM, looking unsettled and a lot cooler with that. This is the precipitation type forecast based on that ECM run from Temexio.com. So, of course, initially you've got these showery bursts. They'll sort of ease off later on in the week. And then going to the weekend, and in comes the rain from off the Atlantic. So as we get into the weekend, then through the early part of next week, look at that, bit of a deluge coming in through the early part of next week with plenty of rain and showers to come. We keep this unsettled weather going, unsurprisingly, with the ECM up to day 10. But if we was to see like a version of that with the GFS, it would look very, very different. It would look nowhere near as wet as that through the first week of July. Let's have a look at the options on the table within the ECM ensembles for day 10. So these are run via the Icelandic Met Office. This gets us to the 8th of July. Have 17 members of the ECM ensembles, which does include the operational run, but have higher pressure to our south and east, but low pressure is out to the northwest. And so, you know, it's not overly cold, but it's going to be quite unsettled. And then we have 11 with low pressure to our west, or below average heights to our west, above average heights to our east. That looks a little bit mixed as well. We have 10 with high pressure blocking to the north, so that will be bringing in winds from the east, probably weaker pressure coming through here. And then we have 8 with a deep low pressure over the top of the country, combined with a mid-Atlantic ridge up to Greenland, so combined with northern blocking. That's going to be a very cool and very unsettled scenario. That does include the control run. And 5 with low pressure across northern and western Europe, high pressure pulled out into the middle of the Atlantic up towards Greenland, and that would bring in a wind from the north or northeast direction. That also will be cool and unsettled. Generally, most of the options within the ECM ensembles look unsettled, don't they, at day 10. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we're going to have. It gets us to the 13th of July. We have 22 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure out to our west. So probably just sending like a northwest-southeast line to jet stream. Could be a little bit showery. 15, including the control run, with low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south. That's going to be flat, rather flat and westerly, so probably rather cool and showery of that. And then 14 with a ridge from the Azores extending up towards Scandinavia. So that's going to be the driest and warmest option for the middle of July, or approaching the middle of July, with loads of dry and quite warm weather on offer with that. But to be honest, I think like up to day 10 is as far as we can look, because next week is still very, very, very difficult to decipher where things are going, I have to say. CFS V2 lastly, so it's a 500 millibar heights, break it down into week periods. The first week period will take us from the 28th of June to the 4th of July. The coming week has high pressure just to our north and bring winds in from the east. Going to be plenty of dry and warm weather on offer. Of course, we have got this low pressure to our south that is bringing me showery conditions to southern area, but eventually we will get rid of that low. For a while at the end of the week and into weekend, it will turn more settled. Now look at week 2. This is the week that's causing all of the problems within the short range roll output. CFS still convinced that it's going to be a dry, warm, maybe hot week. This is the 5th through to the 11th of July. Still with the high pressure sitting over and just to our north-northeast, still pulling up like a southeasterly. CFS is consistent about this. It might be that it's consistently wrong, but the CFS is there with the GFS as well in suggesting that, like, that period is going to have loads of dry, warm, and potentially hot weather. Week 3 will be the 12th through to the 18th of July. Again, with the above average height sitting just to our north, winds in from the east. Again, that should be mainly dry and very warm, potentially hot. And then week 4 will be the 19th to the 25th of July. And the high pressure just begins to recede eastwards a little bit. So it doesn't actually show low pressure, but I suspect there is like a trough that's beginning to push through here. So by the time we get through to week 4, that might be starting to turn a bit more unsettled and perhaps a little bit more cooler. But of course, it's 4 weeks away. It's a very long way off. Temperature anomalies for the week ahead, 28th of June to 4th of July. Bit warmer than average for the north, a little bit cooler than average for the south. But by the time we get through to week 2, we're looking hot. This is the 5th through to the 11th of July. Very significantly above average in those deep red colours. On the temperature scale, that's like 2.5 degrees above average. So going hot in the second week of July. Week 3 also looks very warm, maybe hot, 12th to the 18th of July. Then week 5, it's still warm. It's not as hot as it is in week 4, I should say. Still hot, still warm, not as hot as it is in weeks 2 and 3, but nevertheless still above average by around a degree or so. And then lastly, precipitation-wise, plenty of dry weather to come in week ahead, 28th of June to 4th of July, especially so for more northern areas. Week 2 is interesting. This is the 5th to the 11th of July. Actually, it's a little bit above average with rainfall for southern and western areas. Presumably, that's caused by thunderstorms generated by the heat, I would have thought. Week 3 also looks a little bit wetter than average, 12th to the 18th of July, especially for England and Wales. Again, I would have thought that's likely to be thundery, triggered by thunderstorms caused by the heat. And then week 4, which is 19th to 25th of July, hints at being a little bit above average rainfall in the north, and that's from a different type pattern as a trough of low pressure comes in off the Atlantic Ocean. So a little bit unsettled actually for July with CFS even as we go through those precipitation charts, but definitely like there is some very warm to hot weather on offer in weeks 2 and 3. But again, bear in mind the ECM, the GEM, they say no to that idea, and they look much cooler and much more unsettled like as we go into next week. So it's all to be revealed, it's all to play for what's going to happen with this July. It's a nail biter, keeping us guessing, and we shall just see how it all pans out. Of course we will. I'll keep you updated. Right, if you enjoyed this video, then please can you smash the like button, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much everybody for doing that, and drop a comment, let us know what you think. It's great, thank you so much. If you subscribe, you'll be able to see future weather content, of course, on the channel. And tell friends and family about how to subscribe. Thank you so much. You can share these videos where you want as well. If you want to share them on like Facebook, Twitter, so on, then by all means do so. And thank you so much for doing that. Right, okay, so we're done with today's videos. Tomorrow, we're going to have 7 a.m. upload. We will have the EC 30-day forecast, and we'll have a 10 to 14-day as well. Will it be any clearer what's going on with this early part of July, potential for hot weather or cool and showery weather? You know, perhaps it'll all, perhaps some odds will all come into line tomorrow. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyway, we'll have some, we'll have some cross-model support tomorrow. For what's going to happen in July. Right, so that's it for today's videos anyway. You enjoy the rest of your Monday. And for this one, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.